I'll tell you what, I know some people aren't going to like some of the things I'm saying on this video. I know that's the case. I'm probably even going to lose subscribers from this one. But you know what? I think it's important, so I'm going to say it anyways. Hello everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. We're in the Commonwealth cabin. We appreciate you stopping by. I hope your Q4 sales are going well if you're a reseller out there. Let me know in the comments if they are. I'm going to talk about some things today that, I'll tell you what, I hope a lot of you watch the whole video because I'm going to weave it through the whole thing. And if you take little snippets and start to comment on them without hearing the whole story, I think you might get the wrong impression because I'm usually pretty measured in what I talk about. I usually kind of test things and look out and read the tea leaves. And today I want to say some things that might make a few people a little bit upset. And I got to tell you, these are things that make me upset as well. So I'm in that crowd. I don't like change. I hate change. I wish things would stay the way they are forever. I just absolutely love selling on eBay and doing what I've done for years. But there are some changes that have happened. There are some changes coming down the pike as well. And there's been slow change over time. Some of us have adapted a little better than others. Some of us refuse to adapt. Some of us don't need to adapt. And you could do things the same way the rest of your life and be just fine. But I want to rehash some of that stuff and talk about a few things that I think, and a lot of people around me think are on the horizon, and some changes that have already taken place, and get your opinion on it as well. But we got some great sales. We got to get to those too. And I'm going to pick items and talk about it like throughout the whole video. I hope this doesn't turn into a super long one, but I'm long-winded sometimes to get my point across. And I really want some feedback on this. I think they're down. There they are right there. Pokemon stuff. This video is about ready to come out, actually, I think. And I picked these up down in North Carolina. These are some 1999 I don't even know what they are, y'all. You Pokemon folks might know better than I do, but just set a little 4 Pokemon balls, if that's what you call them. Sold for, I don't know what it sold for. What did it sell for? $20.69 plus shipping. Some of you have been in the reselling game longer than I have been in the reselling game. You've been in it forever. I've been doing it for 22 years now. My mainstay has always been eBay. I don't see that changing very much in the near future, but I do see change, and I started to sell on other platforms. You know, I'm old enough to remember just a few years ago when everybody and their brother's like, oh, Facebook Marketplace, they're going to ship, they're going to take over, whatever, and that fell flat on its face. At least it did for most people. It certainly did for me. You know, I've heard things like Grailed and Depop and all these different places to sell, and some people sell on those places. Matter of fact, I met a kid the other day, and I could tell he's a reseller. I'm like, where do you sell? I only sell on Depop. I'm like, really? I'm like, how do you do that? How do you get enough sales? Well, it's what he sells is so niche down to that market, it works for him. It would never work for me. It would never work for 95% of you out there as well. I know people who do really well on Grailed. I know people who sell on every platform. I know people who just sell on Poshmark, nothing else. I know people who just sell on Mercari, nothing else. I want to talk about those things today, and I also want to talk about the thing that gets under everybody's skin, the effect of Whatnot. Now, this isn't about Whatnot per se, but it is about the effect that Whatnot has had on traditional eBay sellers. And I think there's a lot of people struggling in eBay because of that over there. And I think there's a whole ton of people who don't struggle at all, and it's not even affected them one bit. And I want to talk about why. Well, like I said, we have to do some sales today too, so we'll leave them in between the comments, and you can leave your comments below. Nike Florida State jacket with the sweet colorway right there. And look at this. This thing is just absolutely awesome, in great shape. It's got Nike embroidered inside the hood. It is awesome, and it's made in the USA. Just perfect. I mean, there can't be many out there like this at all, and they certainly aren't in this condition. I put it out there for $200 plus shipping. So like that. And when I taught AP World History, I don't want to bore you with history, but when I used to teach that class, one of the things you had to do was examine history in terms of continuities and changes. And for eras, for thousands of years, there were certain continuities that ran through everything, and occasionally you'd see a big change that would occur. Now, in today's world, ever since the Industrial Revolution and now what I'd call the Technological Revolution, the only continuity there seems to be is constant change, which is an oxymoron, but I think you get the point. And that doesn't sit well with somebody like me. And I know there's people out there like me watching in this audience, you're just not comfortable with so much rapid change. And so I've always tried to do it slowly but surely, but I force myself to do it. There's a quote, see if I can remember the quote that I read the other day. You must bend over backwards to criticize yourself because you're the easiest one to fool. And that basically I took that as, hey, you got to really examine your practices and look from the outside in to what you're doing to see if you can keep up or where you can diverge a little bit, where you can make a small change in order to keep up, but still be able to do the things that you love. And I feel like that's where a lot of people are in reselling. They get overwhelmed with this, I don't want to list on 50 sites. I don't want to do this, but my sales are bad. I think a lot of people are there, and I want to discuss that further as I pick some more items. The next one I'm just going to show you on the screen here because I've got to unroll it. It's the Scrooge one. I think this is the Scrooge. Maybe this is. I'll just put it on the screen here, and you can take a peek at it. Scrooge McDuck poster, and this one sold for $21, and I think it's $21 plus shipping. If you watched the last, well, I guess it wasn't the last video because we put my Reseller Genie video in there, but the one on Monday, I started to touch the tip of the iceberg here about this, and I've talked about some of the internal changes that I've made, but I didn't talk about the reasons why I made them. Speaking of changing with the times in a micro sense, not a macro sense, which is what this video is about, I think this is it. I used to sell these Revereware kettles. I used to take time and clean them with Barkeeper's Friend, and people use lemon juice and stuff like that. And there's a time you were getting like close to 30 bucks for some of these back there in the pandemic, but those times are gone. So I don't even clean them anymore. I'm just like, I'll buy it for $1, sell it for 15 plus shipping in whatever conditions it's in. And I've sold 2 lately. So, I have 2 Facebook groups. I'm all over the place. I know tons of resellers, and I talk about this stuff with them all the time, and I get their opinions because my little world right here is a little different than everybody else's, and I just don't want to pop off at the mouth of stuff I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm finally feeling fairly comfortable about something I've been thinking about for a long time that I think has affected a lot, and maybe not a lot, a good portion of eBay resellers that nobody talks about, at least very much. One of them is pretty minor. I don't know if it's minor. It's a small group of people, and I've actually mentioned this on the show before. There's so much availability of extremely cheap, and I mean cheap in every way, of Chinese products coming, that the stuff that, Amazon return pallets and stuff like that, small electronics and cheaply made stuff and all kinds of that it is really, really hard for those people that used to do pallets that sell that stuff off. It's becoming more and more difficult to make a profit on that stuff. And I think that has affected some eBay resellers for sure. Now, there are some that still do pallets and different types of pallets and all kinds of stuff like that are still doing okay. But I think they have slightly different methods and slightly different products. Now, that's the minor of the 2 changes. I think that is, I don't know, like I said, it's not minor. It's a big deal for some people who have warehouses full of things and they're big time sellers, but those products have dried up. Just like, I have items that I've sold for years that I find around here all the time that no longer sell for very much money. But at the same time, there's other products I find around here that are going faster and for more money. Now, this next sale has a little bit to do with sourcing, but a lot to do with what I want to talk about today, especially the sourcing side of this. I think you're seeing massive changes too that are affecting things, but I want to save that for the next video for the most part. This is a vintage New York Yankees shirt, American League East Yankees, and it says 1992. It is a single stitch nutmeg shirt. I saw no other exact comps out there. Single stitch there, made in the USA. Pretty cool shirt right here. And of course, there's a lot of Yankee fans out there. There's a couple in my family, unfortunately, but hey, what can you do? That right there is in great condition. I bought it for $1/4 in Tennessee, and it sold for $40 plus shipping. Now let's take this one kind of as a case study here, and it's going to lead into what I want to talk about. The vintage t-shirt market it depends on who you talk to right now. Some people will say it's way down, and some people will say it's never been better. And I'm like, how could that be? And then when you dig into it a little bit, I think what's going on, and you can back me up out there or not, vintage folks, I've heard a lot of people say that the lower end vintage stuff is harder and harder to get the price that they used to command a year or 2 ago. But the high-end stuff, this wouldn't even be high-end. This isn't even close. But it's not bad. I mean, it's definitely not low-end like, you know, $10 shirts. I think those have taken a hit, and I think there's a reason. There's a couple reasons why. One's on the sourcing side, and one is on the selling side, and that's what we're going to talk about after the next sale. But I hear a lot of people say that those very rare shirts, the very desirable ones, there's such a huge collector market at this point that those are going up and everything else is going down. I might even relate that to like the media world, right? The LP world and the cassette world and the VHS world, which you know I love. That low-end stuff is just absolutely completely dead, and the high-end stuff still has a good market. So the other factor is all of these other platforms. There's one thing for sure, that they're dividing the buyer base up into different sections, and there's different demos. A lot of people are smart shoppers. They're going around finding the cheapest deals, if you will. But you'd think, well, they're also dividing the sellers up. Not necessarily, but I think that's true as well. But I think there's a bigger factor at play than just people going out there and being able to find better deals on other platforms. And that's the main topic here. There's two that sold. I pulled them out earlier because I knew I'd have to dig. Didn't want you to wait. So these two right here, and I think this is going to a viewer because somebody bought two of them. And yeah, they did leave a message. So I'll read that here in a second. And these are pretty cool, these sealed ones. $12.95 a piece plus shipping, and then we'll refund the shipping back right there. These are pretty cool. We haven't sold these in a while, and I'm pretty excited. This is the time of year when this kind of stuff would sell. Sealed cars stuff does pretty good. The dates on this one, for those of you who care about that kind of stuff, can't find the date on that one for some reason. Oh well. At any rate, we've sold a ton of these, and there's about 5 or 6 left, different types. This one's going to John, the Junk Man's Treasure. And you've been selling a long time. Got some feedback. 2,812. I don't know how much feedback I have. 12,915. About ready to hit that 13,000 mark. That's not bad. And I actually have had 2 stores previous to this as well. So I don't know. I had the kids store as well, and that took some feedback. And then I had one way back when, and then I opened a new one because I thought it would be smart to have 2 stores to sell different stuff, which was really a bad idea. I love this message. Not only is it from a fellow teacher. I'm a former teacher. Hello, Kevin. Looking forward to giving this to my 3-year-old for Christmas. We often listen to this. We often take turns alternating watching Cars and Trash to Cash podcast. I don't know about that, y'all. Any rate, fellow teacher, while I can't afford to leave the classroom, I look forward to full-time reselling following retirement in 5 to 10 years. Well, awesome. Hopefully that comes in 5, not 10 for you. I appreciate you. I feel for all you teachers out there. I really do. It's a tough job. There's no doubt about it. But it does allow you the freedom to resell at certain times of the year. And that is definitely, they talk about the summer slowdown. Mine was the summer speed up because that's when I had all the time to sell. And so it was pretty cool. So thank you, John. I appreciate it. So many of you, I've talked about it, but many of you have noticed that I've really kind of reduced those really lower end items. I mean, I used to go back and watch videos from 2 years ago. I'd sell stuff for $5 plus shipping all day long. And I loved it. And I still do. And I still sell some of that lower end stuff because I like it so much. But some of that lower end stuff, like maybe even some lower end plush and stuff like that, it was becoming really, really difficult to move it quickly. I think there are a few different factors involved here, and I want to talk about each of them, but one of them kind of dawned on me just a little bit, and it has to do with Whatnot. And, I do sell on Whatnot. I don't do it very much. I think I've done 10 shows total in, 2 years or something, but we've obviously started to do like 2 shows a month. This is not actually about the selling side. It's not promoting anything at all. It's actually quite the opposite. It's about the negative effect the other sites, not just Whatnot, but especially Whatnot, have had on what I would call experiential buyers, people that buy for the experience, and they're shoppers. They love to shop. That's not me. I hate to shop, and my guess is a lot of you out there don't really enjoy shopping either. But there are a certain portion of the population who love the experience of shopping. And that is provided, on a huge scale on Whatnot, where people are buying things that they didn't ever think they wanted until they saw them. And they're realizing that there are some really good deals to be had over there on certain people's selling sites. and they're getting their fill of that lower end stuff, and they're getting it really, really cheap. And I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing, which is why I shifted a little bit. And I didn't shift much. I just tried to push my average sales price up just a little bit to get out of that $6, $7, $8 selling market. And I still stay in that $10 range on a few items because I like to sell them, and there's really no market for those experiential buyers. I'm going to give you an example in a minute. There will always be a searchable market on eBay that will never sell on any other, well, not any other platform, but they won't sell on most other platforms. eBay will remain king in most categories, probably for a very, very long time. But there are some categories that really took a huge hit because of whatnot. And that's not indictment of eBay. That's just how things go. I mean, they took the Funko market. You know, the card market has got all kinds of different outlets to sell now, but eBay still probably does more than any other place by far. It's just their market share is eroding, and I think it has affected certain sellers who sell some things far more than it's affected others. There are some people who don't have any negative effects whatsoever because of things like Whatnot, or maybe even Depop, or all these other new things that are coming out as well. It doesn't affect them because of what they sell. Like, for instance, if you're selling car parts, if you're selling tools, you know, nothing is going to change that market very drastically. It's the experiential shopping and people who are, I don't know, maybe there's a better word for it. Maybe not experiential shopping, but I think you get the point. Those old home shopping network folks that sit there and they love the buy and it's adrenaline rush, whatever it is, that has had an effect. There's no doubt about it. And I still love to sell this stuff, and I sell it on eBay, and I'm still successful at it, but it was harder and harder to sell that lower end stuff that people just are browsing and trying to buy. It's kind of a perfect example of what I'm talking about. This kind of stuff over here is almost all searchable buys. Almost all of it, you know. It's not somebody just going out to watch something and see stuff. It's like, oh, that's cool, I want to buy that. You know, that's not me. That's why I kind of resisted doing Whatnot. It was my family that got me in because that's what they do. That's what they love to do. Well, Turner doesn't, but he'd rather sit home and watch football with me. But my wife and daughter love to go out and shop. Tupperware, plain Jane, egg keeper right here. I used to get $15 all day long for these, and now I'm getting about 10, so I'll take it, $10 plus shipping. I was smart this time, y'all. I grabbed two things from inside. Did pretty good with vintage clothing today. And this right here, this is just like Virginia Tech colors here, like a practice jersey, and it probably was exactly that, a practice jersey at one point, made in the USA. And it sold for $15 plus shipping. And, you know, that's kind of the thing that's not an experiential kind of thing, I wouldn't think. You know, somebody's looking for that for some reason. I don't know why. And then this is an old Izod sweater that's got pilling all over it. I didn't even remove it. I got it for $1. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll put it out there. It sold for $15 plus shipping. It's not too bad for a raggedy old sweater. And I just love that kind of stuff. But even those, you'll notice they're $15, which isn't a ton of money. But I used to try to sell, you know, $8, $9 shirts that I thought were cool, and they would sell over there. It's just getting harder and harder and harder. And there's a sourcing reason behind that for vintage, but there's also sourcing reasons behind it for everything. That's the topic of the next video, because you want to talk about changes. There's some things I'm seeing lately for sourcing that is, you know, let's face it, some of these thrift stores are drying up in certain areas, and there's reasons behind that. And some of them aren't. Some people are still doing their thrifting thing, and they're finding crazy stuff and making a ton of money. But in certain pockets of the country, that's just not as possible as it used to be. And there's sourcing issues, traditional sourcing issues. And I want to talk about that on the next episode. But now, like, I love to buy, you watch my Commonwealth picker videos on that channel. I'd love to buy vintage tees that I think are cool, that are only worth $8, $9, $10. I love it, but I'm not selling them on eBay anymore. I'm putting them in lots, and I'm selling them off 15 at a time. And I've just found that it's a quicker turnover. The sell-through rate's not ridiculous. The storage isn't a problem. I'm still buying those hats, and I'll take off the ones that are going $15, $20, $30, selling them on eBay $50, and putting those $8, $9 hats in a box all together and throwing in a couple of good ones too. Good ones meaning $15 hats or so, and moving them quicker over there. But if I didn't have that outlet, I would stop buying that stuff, as much as it hurts me to stop buying it. because I think that's a change that a lot of people need to make. And a lot of people have made it, and they've been telling me to make it for a long time too, and I slowly have over time, and I'm glad I did. And I'm just kind of curious if there's an item out there, you're a long-time eBay seller and you used to be able to sell it, and you think another platform has really taken that away. I'd just be curious to know what it is. There are certain niches that different sites have really dominated and taken away market share, and certainly Whatnot's done that with certain little categories and really made inroads and giving better prices out to people over there, and those buyers have migrated over there, and or they never came to eBay to begin with. You know, that used to be the thing, right? I didn't mean to have this conversation in this dark alley, but what the heck, I was going to get these pair of boots here. I think that this is true as well. Maybe I'm wrong, y'all can tell me. It used to be with certain items that most people, 99% of people, would think, oh, I want that. They would automatically think eBay because it was the only place they could find it. The only place. If you were going to go buy an old He-Man figure, the only place you were going to look was eBay because it was basically the only place you could buy it. And now that's changed. And I think that that's why I've done this buy an eBay gift card thing for Christmas, right? Because I think we can get more people to this platform and we can sell more if we get more and more people for the first time thinking about check eBay first, hashtag check eBay first. Because truly it is, for 99% of stuff, especially vintage used stuff like we buy, it is the best place to buy that stuff, the cheapest. There's even, you know, certain items sell on Amazon and eBay and they're just cheaper on eBay. Certain things aren't, just depends on what the item is, of course. Arctic Pax Sorrel boots. When I saw these, I'm like, sweet, that's a $50 bill, easy. Because I've sold this stuff before. I've never sold this exact kind. And she's like, $5. I'm like, God, I'm going to grab it, sweet. And I looked up the comps, and no, they weren't. I was a little disappointed. I was hoping for $50. I think we sold these for just $25 plus shipping. But, you know, that was kind of my rule with shoes, right? I wanted $50 and above. I didn't even look these up. But these are boots, so I got an excuse. So 5 into 25 plus shipping, and they did sell really quickly. You know, I just refuse to stop picking the things that I love to pick, but I'm just more careful about it. And I really have been fairly careful over the years, but even more so now. And it's because of all these other marketplaces, because of external forces, because of the economy to some degree. There's all kinds of factors, and you just got to keep your pulse on it. And you know, it's tough sometimes, but that's what you got to do if you want to stay in the game, and I love the game so much I want to. So, like these right here. I picked these up, but they're beanie. They're not tie beanie. They're beanies, though. They got beans in them. Oddball 102 Dalmatians, that one's Domino, and this one is Oddball. And these are actually pretty decent. These sold for just under $23 plus shipping. So I want to know your opinion on two things as I finish this part up and get to picking here. What do you think? Where do you think this whole thing is going? Where do you think reselling in general is going? I still see a huge upside, but I see people not necessarily niching down, but finding their niche, whatever their niche is. And I don't mean product-wise, but what works for them. Maybe it's one platform focusing on this. Maybe it's two platforms focusing on these two things. Maybe it's one thing, eclectic mix. Maybe it's going all in on one thing and changing their model completely. There's all kinds of different options, which is what's beautiful about this. But I don't see the genie going back in the bottle for having multiple ways. I mean, let's face it, you know, for everyone that's failed, and there's been a few that have failed and everybody was all high on, and then I was high on Depop for like a month. I put some stuff on there, it was selling, I'm like, this is great, and then nothing. And it's like, well, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. And of course I didn't anyways. I've always done eBay. I always will do eBay. I can only imagine, unless they kick me off. And you know, Whatnot's not going anywhere. It's a totally different experience. It's not going to go anywhere. For all the people that hate it, it's not going anywhere. There are too many people out there who like to do it, who like to buy like that. They like to be in a group. They like to not purchase something and then see something and bid on it. They just like it. It's like an addiction. They're just shoppers out there. And in the world of brick and mortar, you know, when anything new comes along, like even eBay was new at one point, there was always a pushback from what was there before. And I think we're seeing that now. It's even dividing lines up between resellers, which I think is ridiculous. But, you know, that's another side point. We all have our own experiences with different things. And I totally get the people who don't want to sell on whatnot. I was one of those people. I still am to some degree. It's not where I'm most comfortable. I don't love live selling at all. My family happens to, which makes it more palatable for me for sure. But it is not for everybody. And I'm not saying all this to say, hey, you need to change. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is you need to change in places that allow you to continue to do what you love to do and make those minor changes so that it never becomes overwhelming. And that's kind of what I've tried to do here, because I'm going to adjust and adapt in here because I love doing this. It's just that simple. I sold the old Hiss tank. I mean, who doesn't love this stuff? I'm sorry, I can't take it. I just love it so much. And that sold for $25. You don't often find these in decent shape where they sit up like that. A lot of times they'll fall down or they're broken or whatever. But that one's in good shape. 25 bucks plus shipping. That brings our total on the Real American Hero sale from our original $400 buy, $640 on for labor because we could not process that all. I had Jess come in and help us for a few days. It was so much. $3,300 right there. After fees, after shipping. But let's just face it, there is, you know, these are hearing aids. And they're as-is hearing aids, not even, or non-tested, non-working hearing aids right here. I don't even know if we tested them, because it's been so long they've been sitting in here. But they're sold completely as-is, no returns. And you're not going to sell this stuff anywhere, except for eBay. I can't imagine, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. $20 plus shipping. I heard footsteps behind me, and I'm like, it has to be Wallen. Oh my gosh, there he is. And it was Sophie. Sophie's been feeling good for an old girl lately, huh? Sold a Frosty the Snowman 3.5-foot inflatable, and we sold this one for $35. It's a cross-listing sale. Cool. We sold it for $35 plus shipping, and I paid $5 for that one. We got some crazy deals, and unfortunately, I think I lost all. No, I didn't. That one we do have on a Commonwealth Picker video. So we've sold 3 of the 5 inflatables we bought that day, and we've made a, let's see, one sold for $120. We're in the profit about $120 so far. Still have 2 left. Turner's in here and brought Wallen with him. You got a joke for us, a little Commonwealth comedy?
Yeah. What do gingerbread men sleep on?
What do gingerbread men sleep on? Wallen, get over here. What do ginger men sleep on?
Cookie sheets.
I love your outfit today. Come over here. Check this out. This came from Ivan, and he is incredibly nice to us, but I've just got to show you your portion of it. He gave us some really cool stuff in there. Look at that. Look at that. How cool is that? Turner loves the Titans. You see there's an angel hat in there too?
That's cool.
Another Titans hat in there. Ivan is absolutely the best, and check this out. What do you think about that?
That's cool.
All right, you hold that. And Ivan, listen. We decided we're going to send this to you for all your kindness to us. Reagan made this ornament right here. We're going to send it to you as a small token of our appreciation. And it reminds me we're doing some Commonwealth Picker 50/50 auctions. And you can always go check eBay. Just type in Commonwealth Picker and find the one that looks like ours. Not somebody just taking our name to sell stuff. And half of the money is going to a charity. You can check to see what charity that is down there. And a lot of times it's St. Jude, but we have some other ones. Like, we have some animal shelter ones too, huh? That's right. Anyway, thank you, Turner.
Bye.
You want to say thanks to Ivan?
Yeah, thank you, Ivan.
And I know I had sold this the other day, so I pulled it out from inside and wanted to show it to you here. It's an Auburn jersey. Heartbreaking loss to Alabama. Absolutely unreal. And that one's new at tags. Pretty cool. Made in Korea jersey. It sold for $61 plus shipping. Hey y'all, look, we got the cat that nobody ever sees. This is Dobby, the tailless cat.
He's mad because we only have one treat.
Yep. Nobody ever sees Dobby.
Dobby's always out hunting. Wallen!
And Wallen's scratching at the door.
I remember the first time we brought him into the shed, he did not like it.
No, he doesn't like it now.
He's clawing
Well,
me.
we'll let you go here.
Oh, it's okay.
That's all right. You got that?
Well, there's a lot of people.
Yep. We're thanking all the people for all these purchases. We've sold 30 they sold in a day or so, and then we're going to do the next drop on the 29th which is tomorrow. No, is it already
Today's the
passed?
20th.
Oh my gosh, you're not going to see this. They're not going to see this. Yesterday, we put these out on Whatnot, and then whatever's left, we're going to put them back on CommonwealthPicker.com, and they're going to ship a ton out tomorrow, y'all. So if you're one of the first 30 who bought them, they're coming your way. You want to say some thanks to about half of those folks?
Terry, Wayne, Kristen, Julie, Sean, Tracy, Joanne, Paul, Kathleen, Lauren? Yeah. Dana, and Dee Dee.
All right, and we'll give some more thanks tomorrow. Thank y'all for that. And look at this. We should be our own animal shelter here with all these cats. Dobby wants out. Why don't you like it in here, Dobbs? We'll let you out. You want to go?
Yeah.
We'll go. See, look, Dobby don't have a tail, y'all.
No tail.
We found Dobby in the front yard.
In the bushes.
In the bushes. And had his whole tail was skinned. Pretty sad, but we're sending all those ornaments out, and a portion of everyone's going to the local animal shelter, and Reagan gets a portion as well, and we've paid a couple people to help us make them, so appreciate everything y'all do.
Bye, and don't forget to get your sticker at CommonwealthPicker.com.
My wife comes in here and just opens stuff, and I don't know who sent what, and what I bought, and what she bought, and who sent something for charity. I get so confused. So I had to piece it all together today. This one came from Joe. Actually, this one we bought. Joe Deals. Hey, Joe. How you doing, man? And this one we bought over there on onestopshop.net. Buccaneers hat. Super sweet. And just supporting some folks. This is awesome. Came from Mark from Arizona. And Mark has always been awesome to this channel. That makes me so happy. I just absolutely love, wrestling stuff. Some of you know that. And this is Jesse Ventura, look, Governor of Minnesota, U.S. Navy SEAL, Mayor, volunteer football coach, wrestler. It's crazy. I love that. Thank you so much. This we bought from New England Betty Boop, who's also Posh is My Purpose on Posh. She's everywhere. Lisette is just an awesome person. And we bought it at a charity auction for another awesome person, Jennifer Hayes, who unfortunately lost her daughter, and they were doing a charity fundraiser. And so I decided to give something to an amazing person by buying something from an amazing person, and that was our choice. So thank you, Lisette. Thank you, Jennifer, for being such a great member of this community for so long. I've been selling on eBay for 20-some years, but I've been in the YouTube community for about 5, meaning part of it, in chats and making videos eventually, not quite 5 years ago. And I followed all these people and all these, live shows and stuff. And Jennifer's always been there. So it's sad when something happens to somebody in the community. But Jennifer, I want to give our heartfelt condolences to you. And thank you, Lisette. You're awesome as well. So many people out there, guys. This is an amazing community. I just would encourage you not to draw lines. Just to do whatever it takes for you to do 2 things. To make those changes as you need to, and only as you need to, in order to continue to do what you love. And don't feel the pressure to do anything. If you're comfortable and you do it for fun and you only want to sell on eBay, do it. Do it. You don't have to listen to everybody else. If you want to try to grow something and branch out, even if you want to try Whatnot, it's a tough road over there, y'all. Especially for, it's a marketing thing. You got to bring people over there to watch your shows. And that is not easy. And it's also not what a lot of people want to do. And of course, we've built the social media following, so it's much easier. But man, I've seen a lot of people go over there and fail. But I certainly would say if it's not your personality to be a live seller, then good Lord, don't even try it. What's the point? It doesn't bring you joy. What are you doing it for? So that's just my opinion on it. And some people, like I know, Esme out there, you've been selling just on Mercari forever, and you love it. And I think that's awesome, even though there's a lot more sales over here. Any rate, you get my point. Thank y'all for joining us as always, and I can't wait to see you next